Hey, what's going on YouTube tonight? It's your boy TJ and welcome to my YouTube channel, Wrestling Nostalgia, where I get my reviews on WWE shows, PLA events, and today we are going to be reviewing NXT June 25th, 2024. But before I get into my reviews, go ahead and give that thumbs up a like. It helps push my video through the algorithm. And without further ado, let's go ahead and get it right into my review for NXT. So we open up with Tag Team Turmoil. I'm not about to get into all the action. I'm gonna just get into the order eliminations because again, just like the Battle Royals, it's just too much to kind of call. So we're just gonna go ahead and start off. It was Idris and Malik versus New Catch Republic. So New Catch Republic eliminates three teams actually. They eliminate Malik and Idris. Then it was Legado de Fantasma. They eliminated them. And then they eliminated the Good Brothers. So then it was down to the bottom two, which was Chase U versus New Catch Republic. So they had a pretty standard back and forth match. And then towards the end of the match, it looked like New Catch Republic was about to win. But thanks to Rich Hollins, you know, the new member of Chase U, he ends up taking the bullet for Chase U, and they ended up picking up the win in this match. Like I said before, it was a lot going on in this match. It was very interesting. But because of this win, Chase U is going to Heat Wave with a tag team championship opportunity. And hey, I guess they about to put on a show in Canada. In this next segment, it is all ego, and he comes out and he makes his stake in his claim to the NXT championship because he did defeat Jovan, which is the #1 contender. Then he gets interrupted by Ava and he says, no, this is good. So he kind of makes a demand of Ava to say, oh, well, since I defeated Jovan and that was the #1 contender, then you need to change this match real quick. So she says, I don't know who you think you're talking to, but I don't like it when superstars back me up into a corner. You're going to learn that real fast. So this is when he said, you know what, you're right. So this is when she said, but in all fairness, you are right. You did defeat the #1 contender. So I have a lot to think about. So this is when Shawn Spears comes out. And Shawn Spears says, well, I did defeat Jovan 2 weeks ago. And I have a name in that stake as well. So this is when all ego, Ethan, for all of you that don't know who I'm talking about, he says that, but didn't Jovan defeat you and threw you lastly out of the ring? I mean, even though I wasn't there, I did watch the playback, but you lost. And then this is when Trick Williams says that, I don't care who's going to be my opponent, but just know that all you going to be hearing is whoop that trick. So this is when Ethan and Shawn Spears wind up beating up on Trick Williams until Jovan comes and even out the numbers and kick the bad guys out of the ring. And then as Ava is picking up the NXT championship, it looks like Jovan is looking like, yeah, I want that for myself, but we're going to have to see what's going to happen in this development. But it looks like I said in my last video of NXT, it's going to be a fatal 4-way, and I am definitely hell-bent on that idea. It's going to be a fatal 4-way. In our next matchup, it is Wesley versus Joe Coffey. Oh my goodness, this match was actually pretty decent. It kind of was like short. In the beginning of the match, Wesley took control of this match in the beginning until Joe Coffey's family members kept getting involved. And this is when the tides changed. And the good majority of this match was Joe Coffey, and it kind of went back and forthish. But then Wesley ends up hitting his chiropractor kick, or whatever it was called. And 1, 2, 3, he wins this match. After he is celebrating, he gets his attention drawn to Oba. And he said, hey, Wesley. And I'm like, did he just blow him a kiss?
Hey.
Holy Booker.
Am I tripping? Like, I kept listening to it and I'm all like, but hey, it is what it is. So he says, I see that you climbed your last hurdle, and at Heat Wave, you're going to get your first and final one-on-one shot with me, Oba. Wesley, see you at Heat Wave. So I can't wait for this. They're actually going to really have a barn burner of a match. And honestly, I do feel like this is probably going to be one of Oba's best championship matches thus far. He definitely shows up and shows out and he puts on. And I do feel like that Wesley is going to give him the best match of his career thus far. But we're going to see. In this next matchup, it is Tony D'Angelo versus Nathan Frazier for the Heritage Cup. So I'm not going to get into all the action. I'm just going to go ahead and go into the decisions. The first decision, Nathan Frazier had pinned Tony D'Angelo. The second one was Tony D'Angelo pinning Nathan Frazier. I believe in the third round, the clock had ran out, and then they had a tiebreaker. So Tony D'Angelo ended up doing the spine buster in 1, 2, 3. He ended up winning this match. As everybody know, or at least should know from watching my videos, I'm not like a fan of the Heritage Cup matches at all, and I just was here to, commentate on it. But hey, it is what it is. In this next segment, it is Jovan and Trick Williams. Trick Williams is getting ready for his matchup against Shawn Spears, and Jovan basically says that he wants to be out there with Trick Williams and have his back tonight. Trick Williams is iffy about it, and he says that he want to lock in by himself because, he still has PTSD from people keep saying that, oh yeah, I got your back, aka Carmelo Hayes. So he wants to lock in by himself, and rightfully so, because I would get tired too, always getting my behind beat, and I'm trying to thrive out here, and people want to take me down and preying on my downfall. So, and Jovan basically agrees, and he says, okay, that's cool. He said, I respect the G. You go out there and you whoop that Trick. So they, handshake and all that other stuff, and they embrace, and then Trick goes his way. But they cut that camera out too fast because it looked like Jovan kind of like did one of these or something, like as if he is gonna have a heel turn very soon in the near future, because like Trick said too, and I forgot to say this as well, when people look at that championship, for some reason they just go crazy and they just do whatever it takes to win that gold. So we're gonna see what's gonna happen between Trick and Jovan's relationship down the line. But yeah, we just going to see. In this next matchup, it is Roxanne Perez, the NXT Women's Champion, versus Carmen Pakovic. I think I'm saying that name right. So Carmen and Roxanne have a pretty standard back and forth match. In the beginning, Roxanne is being very aggressive, and then, with Carmen not taking any line down, she fights back, but towards the end of the match, Carmen is getting the best of Roxanne, and Roxanne all of a sudden stops her momentum by kicking her, taking her legs from up under her, and then she winds up hitting the pop rocks, and then 1, 2, 3, she wins this match. This is when Lola Vice was on commentary, but then she gets in the ring with Roxanne, and Roxanne do the spinning arm thing that she does, basically copying off of Lola, but Lola catches her, and then she does one of her own and lays out Roxanne Perez and take her championship in the process. I'm like, oh man, the disrespect. We're gonna see how that is gonna play out. In this next segment, it is Metaphor, and they're on the phone with Dar right now because I guess he's recovering from the attack from Ethan Page. And Meza said that he's not going to stop until he gains a measure of revenge on Ethan Page, aka Mr. All Ego. And he basically gets into his story about how his father got into a car accident and he got burnt up and things like that. So then he had to go to rehab to, basically recover. And his mom had to put the kids up, which was himself, for adoption because it got too much. And he just had a hard life, and he never really fit in, and he was different from everybody else, whether how he talked or how he looked and things of that nature. But he said that he always felt like he fit into Metaphor, which was really a good story. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but it definitely, it definitely was a very touching story. And he said that he's going to make Ethan Page pay. We're going to see how that's going to pan out and everything like that, but to that king, I hope everything is better in his life right now. And yeah, in this next matchup, it is Tavion versus Damon, and this was a pretty standard back and forth match. I remember at one point in time, Damon had did a angle slam, and I remember the next time when he wound up trying to do the angle slam, he ended up reversing it, and then he hit a belly to belly suplex and pins the No Quarter Cash Crew Damon. I was thinking to myself, are you a fan of Bailey? And the crazy thing about it is his New Quarters Cash Crew ended up in the ring like celebrating Tavion as if he's already a new member. Maybe he is, I don't know, but we're gonna see the development of this in the upcoming weeks. In this next segment, it is Kalani Jordan, and she's talking about the NXT North American Women's Championship opportunity match that's gonna come up next. And she said, I just want to be a drama-free champion and give opportunities to different women that deserve it. Saruka is very chill and she's very laid back, and I have a lot of respect for her and everything like that. And we're gonna see later on who's gonna come out on top. And she also said something about Ariana being not so cool and laid back and things like that. And yeah, that's it. But the main thing I do want to talk about is my girl Jada Parker. She comes out and she says, we ain't gonna switch that camera back. Put it right back on me. See, because Michin, you minding my business way too much, and I'm here to tell you enough's enough. So next week it's gonna be me and you and a street fight match. Now get that camera out of my face. I said, you know what? I love this. And my baby said what she said. Jada Parker is not one to play with. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen between Michin and Jada Parker. Oh, I'm here for this. In this next segment, it is Idris, Malik, and Britley. And Britley is trying to get the boys in good spirits and say, you did really good out there tonight. Just keep a positive attitude and we're going to win and all this other stuff. And you can tell that Idris is kind of like over the whole, you know, positivity is going to bring us wins, and it actually doesn't equal wins. So he looks to be over this whole situation with Britley and Malik. So Malik is more so on the positive side. But anyways, this is when Izzy comes out and she says, yeah, he's right. This pairing isn't doing anything for you guys. Listen here, Britley. This whole pairing, yeah, it's not working out. And they don't want to tell you this, but they don't want you around. You're just this delusional woman that think positivity and all this other good things is going to happen for you guys, and it's not. She's bringing you down. So this is when Britley says, well, if you have a problem, you know, she said, with you, no, I don't. She said, later, dopes. And then also, before I forget, because Victoria and Mickie James's love child keep popping out of nowhere, aka Tatum, like out of the window, decided to nowhere, and then Izzy just was like, girl, go away. Yo, that was just the funniest ever. But we're going to see what's going to happen between Britley, Malik, and Idris. I think Idris is probably going to break off and be like a heel bad guy. Hopefully it leads into him being champion at some point. Hopefully. But we're going to see. In this next matchup, it is Saruka versus Ariana Grace. And they had a pretty standard back and forth match. In this first half of the match, Saruka is getting the best of Grace. She had her in a headlock and taking her down, and then they fight up from there. And then next half of the match, Ariana Grace ends up pushing her out of the ring after doing one too many aerial maneuvers or tripping her up or something like that. Then she's keeping her grounded. I remember too, before she got in control of the match, why she used her as a surfboard. Bro, she had her on the ground. And Saruka is on Grace's back and she's all like, I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. But anyways, Ariana is having Saruka grounded, and then this is when the ties change and she ends up doing a couple clotheslines and knocking her down. And I remember certain moves when she was doing aerial maneuvers, it looked like she was about to slip and things like that. I'm glad she didn't break anything and she's okay, but she ends up hitting her Soul Snatcher in 1, 2, 3. She wins this match. Outside of some of her botches, she definitely is a really, really great competitor in the ring. Hopefully when she does get this NXT North American Women's Championship opportunity, she makes the best of it and she is safe, because I don't want to see her out of action again, because to be honest, she's really been in an upward momentum and she's been doing really, really good. It would suck really bad for her to be out on injury again. And finally, we are here at our main event, Trick Williams versus Shawn Spears. So this match started off with Shawn Spears trying to be the aggressor, and he throws, I guess, his hoodie thing at him, or whatever you want to call it, but he misses. Trick Williams wound up, you know, whooping that trick, and then they kind of go back and forth from here until we get to our commercial break. But before we get to our commercial break, this is when Meza winds up beating up on Ethan Page, and he just beating on him like he meant what he said, baby. He gonna keep his foot on that man's neck. So after we get there, I'm gonna just go ahead and get into like the end of the match. So when Trick had the best of Shawn Spears ends up getting beat up, and then for some reason somebody in the crowd, I couldn't get a good look at the person, but he ends up trying to get involved in the match for whatever reason. And while the security are pulling back this mystery person, he ends up picking up the whatever that was on the table, and he smacks it on Trick Williams' head. So Shawn Spears ended up getting Trick Williams back in the ring, and he hits his C4, and 1, 2, 3, he pins the NXT champion. So now his name is thrown up in that hat for contention for the NXT championship. So speaking of contention for championships, Ava has made it official that it's going to be a fatal 4-way for the NXT championship. And I told y'all it was going to be a fatal 4-way. It was no clearer indication than last week when all 4 of them were laid out and the NXT championship was right there in the middle of it. Like, anybody with a brain can figure that out. But that's all I have for you guys. That is it for my review. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really like that ecstatic about NXT last night. I actually had to watch this twice because I didn't take any notes down. But yeah, it was decent. You know, I could have did without it. But comment down below, how did you feel about NXT? Leave it in the comments. And as always, help me grow my channel. Like, share, and subscribe, and all that other good stuff. And I'm TJ. Peace. I'm out.